guys, it's Amy here, and today I bring you my September TBR. So welcome to my new bedroom, yay! I feel like I haven't filmed in a really long time. It's been about 4 weeks since I filmed last, so if I'm a bit like all over the place today, that's why. I've just spent about half an hour trying to work out where to film in this room and how to have the camera set up, so hopefully this looks okay. If not, I'll change it for next time. If you see a different background next time, you'll know I didn't like this setup. I thought I'd ease myself back into making videos with an easy one, my September TBR. My August, by the way, was a very crazy month, as you can imagine. There were lots of highs and lots of lows as well, but mainly highs, and so I'm glad that September is just around the corner, and September's got my birthday in it, so I'm hoping that it will be a nice month. It's also my busiest month at work because I work at a university, so as you can imagine, all the students arrive back and it's a bit of a crazy one, but it also means that I have lots of overtime to do, so more money for me, which is fantastic. So let's jump into the video. These are the 10 books that I hope to read in September. Fingers crossed, possibly maybe, might not read all of them just because September's so crazy, but we'll live in hope. So the first book I have to show you is The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman. This is the second book in his Dark Materials trilogy. I have read this much of Northern Lights and I'm hoping to read it over the rest of this weekend, so I will be in September reading Northern Lights, so I will finish this one and then continue this one and hopefully finish this in September so that I can read the final one in October before the Book of Dust comes out. That is my grand plan. Next we have War and Turpentine by Stefan Hertmans. I believe I showed this one in my previous video. I'm really excited for this one, and I also think it is kind of non-fiction. So on the back here it says, shortly before his death at the age of 90, Stefan Hertmans' grandfather gave him a set of notebooks, and so he reads these notebooks and comes up with this book, I believe, and it's all centred around World War I. So as you can imagine, this sounds like my kind of book, so I'm very much looking forward to reading it, and I will let you know what I think. The classic that I'd like to read in September is Jezebel's Daughter by Wilkie Collins. I was raving about Wilkie Collins in my recent classics book tag video, and loads of you were saying that you're going to try him out. If you're wanting to find a shorter book by him, this one is much shorter than The Woman in White and The Moonstone. Those are quite lengthy ones, so I haven't read this one yet. Obviously it's in my TBR, I don't know how good it is, but yes, I'm going to be reading it this month. The non-fiction book that I'd like to read this month is Another Day in a Death of America by Gary Younge. I did start this one. I have a feeling I may have started it last year and I only read like this much of it, so I'm hoping to finish this one up. At the time I think it was just too intense for me to read about death because I think a family member had died when I was trying to read this one and it was all too much. But I've heard so many good things about this book from so many of my friends that I know I definitely want to finish it up soon. Another fantasy book I'd like to read this month is The Golden Fool by Robin Hobb. This is the second book in the Tawny Man trilogy. I read the first one a couple of months ago and absolutely loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. It was so good. It gave me all these warm fuzzy feelings for the characters in this book, and I want that feeling again, basically. I want that comfort and that nice warm feeling. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one and continuing on the story. Can't really share what this one's about because obviously it's the second book in a trilogy, but it's also like a third trilogy in the same world. So if you haven't read any of these books by Robin Hobb, I would highly recommend them anyway. As you guys may know, if you've been here since the beginning of the year, I am trying to read all of Shirley Jackson's novels and all of Helen Oyeyemi's novels throughout the year. They each have 6 novels each, and I've been reading them alternatively throughout each month. Last month I actually didn't get around to reading Helen Oyeyemi's book, which was Mr. Fox, so that is back on this month's TBR. Hopefully I will get round to it this month and continue on with the rest of Helen Oyeyemi for the rest of the year. So that means I'm also reading a book from Shirley Jackson this month, which is The Haunting of Hill House. I have read this one before, I read it last year. I think I gave it 3 stars. I'm hoping to enjoy this one more, but we'll have to see. I'm very much looking forward to giving like an overview of all of the Shirley Jackson books that I've read this year, and with Helen Oyeyemi as well. And I'm really enjoying rereading the books that I'd already read from Shirley Jackson and seeing how my opinions have changed over the year, so yes, I will definitely let you know. Next we have a short story collection, and that is Deception by Roald Dahl, Tales of Intrigue and Lies. So I read a couple of these short story collections, Madness and Lust, earlier this year or maybe even last year, and I adored them. I thought they were so good. In fact, I think out of all of the collections of short stories I've read, these have been my favourite so far. I haven't read a lot, but these have been some of my favourites. I feel like it's the only short story collection where I finished a story and like was longing to read more. Like when I'd go to work, I'd be thinking about the book and wanting to read more, which doesn't often happen for me in short story collections, just because quite often the short stories aren't connected, or, you know, I just don't have that. It takes me a while to connect to characters and to storylines, and so short stories are difficult for me because like you don't have that same character all the way through. But Roald Dahl's short stories gave me that feeling of like wanting to rejoin the story even though it wasn't the same story or the same characters. He definitely has like a running atmosphere and feeling to all of his stories that kind of link them all together and really like pull you in, and I loved it. So hopefully this one is going to be another like 4 or 5 star read for me. I'll let you know. Next we have one I feel like has been on my TBR for a really long time, so I wanted to pick it up this month, and that is The Book Collector by Alice Thompson. I feel like I picked this one up on the recommendation of lots of people on YouTube just because I remember seeing it on lots of people's channels and lots of people saying it was really great. So it's also very short, so hopefully I will get through a lot of these because I have picked up some shorter ones just so that I can whiz through them when I'm having a crazy time at work. So this one I believe is about a woman who has a wonderful life and then she has a baby and she becomes obsessed with this book of fairy tales that her husband is locked away from her, and she starts having hallucinations and weird things start happening. And then alongside her story it says, meanwhile vulnerable young women are starting to disappear from the nearby asylum. So it sounds like it could be a bit creepy. The cover looks like it could be a bit weird, so we'll have to see. I've heard many good things, so hopefully it will be a good one. Final book that I hope to read this month is The Carhullan Army by Sarah Hall. This one I believe is a dystopian type novel that follows a group of women who rebel against the regime and kind of form their own group, and it's that kind of storyline which I'm quite excited for because I do really like reading dystopian and apocalyptic type books. I just haven't read any in a while, so this hopefully will be one I really enjoy. As with all the books in the video, once I've read them I will definitely give you my thoughts in my wrap up at the end of the month. So there we are, those are all the books that I hope to read in September. I'd love to hear if you've read any of these. Let me know down below. What do you hope to read in September? As always, I will leave links to Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, everything I've mentioned today down below. I hope you're all having a fantastic day and I will see you soon. Bye!